Oh, no, it is wired. That's fine.
It is wide, but why is everything upside down?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, whatever. Studio 1. So, welcome to our first ever annual review here on our YouTube channel. This video is going to be a breakdown of what the past 12 months have looked like for the company. This is something we're going to aim to put out every year from this point moving forward. Obviously, this is our first opportunity to get it done, so bear with us. You will see a mixture of us in different locations, and then half of it is recorded in my bar at home.
We're kind of looking to tell a bit of a story, highlight some key bits from last year, go back to where this all started, which you'll see in a moment, and then reflect back here in the studio. So we'll have some storytelling elements in the different locations of where it all started, how this came about, and then reflect on some bits here in the studio, or what we're calling a studio for now.
Yeah, we'll call it the studio. It's a bar, but we'll call it the studio. But first, let us properly introduce ourselves. So my name is Justin Dunkley. I am a co-owner, co-founder, and I don't know, whatever you want to call me, from Office Mango. I'm 21. I'm from the United Kingdom.
My name is Dylan Constantine. I am co-founder, co-owner, whatever, of Office Mango. Bit of a spoiler alert for what you'll find out in this year. It's not always been Office Mango.
True.
But this video is about documenting all of our business aspirations, things like that. And Office Mango is our current pursuit as of now when we're recording in 2024. But yeah, it'll be cool to go through and see everything.
Definitely. We very much hope you enjoy. We hope it's not too piss poor. We have tried. So we hope it's not too bad and doesn't run too rockily, if that makes sense. So let's get on with it. Okay. So it's officially been a year.
It has.
Today is the actual date of the anniversary that we're recording these videos on. So today is Saturday, 20th of April. Which is insane to say out loud, but it's officially been a full 12 months.
It is. But how did it start then, all those months ago, that year ago?
So it was a lot of conversations, a lot of ideas, a lot of feelings, and a lot of hope, I guess, is the really short version. But it was simply, in reference to it, it was us always wanting to be something different, wanting to stand out, wanting to make money and run a business, and us taking that from a dream state to something we could work on. In essence, that's kind of what it was, right?
So we created a document called Operation SCSS,
which you'll never know what it stands for.
That is our guiding principles behind this past year, behind our next years and everything we want to do in business. And we broke it down into milestones.
Yeah.
If you wanted to touch on them.
Yes. So we made that document around, I believe, it was the May time of last year. I don't think we had it in April. I think it was like a few weeks in. And essentially what we did is we looked at how much money we'd like to make and by when, to keep it simple. Which, to put into perspective, to date, we've made nothing. We continue to come very close to getting our first signed client, but business is business. Something will get in the way. They won't like the price tag, or they, whatever. But so we said we wanted to earn our first 1,000 British pounds to the company by August of 2023. So we put a 3-month time schedule from creation to payment. We didn't date it, we just said the month as a whole. But 3 months for us to make our first £1,000. So we're 9 months behind on that one.
So where should we be by now?
So by now, according to the document, we said February of 2024, we wanted to make £5,000. And then June of 2024, we wanted to get that to 10. So technically, we're right between the two. So we should have £7,500.
So we could still hit June then.
We could hit all of them in the next couple of months. The thing is, at the time, we had a very different outlook on how we were going to try and tackle these, which was
we were looking at more of that hustly style stuff. So we were going to do Alibaba resale, of like car aerials and everything like that.
Thank you.
But I think the last line was about Alibaba.
Correct.
Right. So we were also looking into like yoga mats, into like indoor gym equipment and everything like that. We set up like an Etsy store to do like custom home decor, like cushions and like pillowcases and things like that.
Which like we didn't go through with those specific ventures, but up until like a month ago, I still had all of the saved images from the pillows, which I now wish I hadn't deleted.
Yeah.
Because I'd show you guys, they were terrible. But you know,
No, I would
the
have
idea was that I would not have put it. Oh my god, as well, like the margins for that stuff. Bad.
Yeah.
Bad. I think we would have had to charge like £30 a pillow to make anything, because once like Etsy and stuff takes their cut, you get like 3p per pillow.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
But the point of that was that we were actually taking action rather than just leaving ideas on the table and being like, oh yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we did that? Like we were actually trying to do something, which was awesome.
Yeah. We took the premise of the conversation and changed our kind of blue sky, £1 million innovation, £100,000 startups, and turned them into what skills do we have at present that we can put to the test, work on, and turn into money. And we are officially, quite literally today, which is really exciting, 12 months in. And I personally believe it's been going very well. I think I've seen like more commitment, more desire, more effort going over the past 4 months than I have done in the previous 8, let alone like a reduction. It's just been like exponential for us, I think, and feel. So yeah, onwards and upwards. So what exactly do you think about Operation SCSS? Looking back on it from kind of where we are now in the process, we're 12 months in, we are, you know, we've experienced the different things we have. What do you think to the naivety and everything else back then?
I think there definitely was a lot of naivety with timelines, especially.
Yes.
Which we will discover over the course of this video. But I think in terms of us getting a clear plan of action, a clear idea of what we wanted to do, and a roadmap of how to get to where we wanted to be, that was really good. But it also gave us that kind of kick up the arse as such of like, well, if we want to get to here, these are the steps that we need to take, and here's how we can achieve it. And I think for the first time we had a tangible plan of action long term rather than just all these ideas.
Yeah, I think it was the first time we'd ever taken like a holistic view of, we want X amount of money, but before that we have to get to this, and then to this, and then to this, and then to this. And we were able to kind of break it down from, you know, 10 million of this dream state sky blue thinking to, okay, well actually how do we earn the first pound? And then we were able to put different things in plan, different processes, different stages, different learning kind of aspects. And I think that is kind of what has saved us over the past 12 months, is knowing, like you said, there's a tangibility to it. We're not shooting for 10 mil. We're not shooting for 1 mil. We're not shooting for 100K. We're not shooting for 10K. We're shooting for £1. That's where this begins. And then we go from there. Once we have 1, you build the confidence to get 2. And once you have 2, you can get 10. And once you have 10, it's kind of just that process, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think the naivety of timelines was really, really real. You know, with throwing everything on, like, yeah, we can do this in 3 months, we can do that in 4 months, and that'll only take us 3 months because we've got this. But yeah, it's not the case at all. Obviously, as you guys have seen through the bits we've documented prior to this video coming out, it's not that simple. But I think it's been pivotal to changing our dreams into like a tangible roadmap of where we can go from this point forth to get to where we want to be, you know, 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Definitely. Gotta throw in the All right, this then went on for about 4 or 5 weeks of like Alibaba, Etsy, all of that stuff, until Justin gave me a phone call.
Yeah, so I think we kind of noticed that our main source of output, which was Fiverr at the time, was not really reaping us any benefit. And the thing is, obviously 4 to 5 weeks isn't a very long time, but we had a lot of engagement, and every single thing was a bot account. And I mean, we probably had maybe like 200 or 300 engagements over that period of time.
It was a lot.
And it was just bot accounts. So we realized that without a lot of traction, Fiverr wasn't going to work. So I had my wise ideas, as I usually do, because I'm pretty sick like that, to call Dylan and talk to him more about the real skills that we have at this period of time without any kind of deviation from our plan of Operation SCSS, which you'll never know the abbreviation for. And that was where we came up with the idea of using Excel to make money. In short. Anything to expand on that?
No.
No.
Just Excel to make money.
Excel to make money.
Cut.
So, welcome to one of our beautiful spots. This is the River Severn behind us. I don't really know what you can see and what you can't, but 17th of May 2023, let me take you back a bit. We came to Worcester for a day together. So basically, my partner, who you guys have heard me talk about many, many times, her best friend lives in Worcester, and they had arranged to meet up. Now, my partner doesn't drive, I drive. So I said, I'll drive you there. Reached out to Dylan, said, what are you up to this Saturday? Let's go, let's make it a thing. No agenda, no plan. We just thought, fuck it, let's go. And 17th of May, we ended up coming. We kind of had 6 hours to kill. What did we get up to?
Yeah, we went to loads of different spots to try and kill time in between, coffee shops, like places on the River Severn, sorry, not the canal, everything like that. And then I hope they're listening to the music as well. Otherwise, you just look.
Look, I know there's music, and I know I'm not schizo, so I'm not too fussed.
What do we do? So we then started writing down some of the key ideas to discuss, because we're now 4 or 5 weeks into our Operation SCSS journey, where we've been doing Alibaba, we've been doing Chattertron, we've been doing all that stuff. And it was off the back of the conversation that we had on the phone about using our skills. So we set aside some time throughout the day to discuss some various points as outlined in this notebook. We still have the original one.
Solid, mate.
And yeah, there were loads of different points on there, but we did end up discussing stuff to do with steel services, Excel consultancy, and this is the birthplace of the whole thing, of where it came about, which is awesome. We're excited to take you through some of the different milestones throughout the year, told from different places we visit on that day.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice place to reflect, to be completely honest. So,
Smashed it.
What can we say?
A year later.
Definitely.
You'll get it soon.
So we had a meeting in Worcester where we ended up sitting down on a Costa, notepad, pen, and just basically jotting ideas down on paper, which you guys have seen just before this. So I think the basis of that conversation was, what do we have now? Where can we get money from? What skills can we put to the test? How do we apply that in the real world? And stuff like that, which led us to...
Yeah, we started to think about what skill sets do each of us have, what we observed in our jobs up to that point, and we realised that everyone relies way too much on Excel, and when it comes to Excel, very much a nerd with that. And so we thought that we could combine Justin's people, marketing skills, all of that stuff, along with my Excel skills, and then we can start to put together a plan of, okay, this is something we already have, this is something that people need, like, we can really start to develop a potential business out of this. And it's something that we referred to as a catapult, because we don't really at this stage want an Excel consultancy to be our dream thing of what we have, but it's going to catapult us through this Operation SCSS journey to get us to where we want to be, and then be able to have other businesses or other adventures and things like that.
Absolutely.
We ran with this for a few weeks of this new business model, and we started to develop internal tools. We started to develop finance tracker, experiment with presentations and scripts and everything like that, which was a really good learning curve.
Yeah, I think we obviously had the very brief conversation, which was surprisingly brief, about us pivoting from the Fiverr and stuff like that into Excel. And then we just thought, what was the best way for us to begin? What did we need to do to make sure we had a strong footing to stand on? And we thought, okay, foundational works, internal tools, business plan, which is a separate topic I will discuss later on with you guys. And we just thought we'd take it and see where it goes. It's always kind of been like that, play it by ear, see where we get to, and kind of a hope for the best, but do what we can at the same time.
Definitely. And it kind of paid off, because early August, a family friend reached out to us and they wanted a favour doing with Excel. They work in the engineering industry and they wanted a bespoke tool made for them to help automate and optimise some of their processes at work. So it was a really good experience for us to deliver that project for free and understand a bit more about it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of weekend work because of working around full-time jobs as well as their job and everything. and it was definitely a test of like effort and commitment at that point.
Yeah, I think the thing with that as well that was really pivotal for us to learn was the kind of internal communication we had around delivering a project, because the project itself wasn't simple. It actually wasn't simple. This was a project that then ended up running for about 4 months, which we did deliver for free, but fingers crossed, touch wood, in the near future that may pay off for us after all. Big up Alex Hormozy and his free value idea. But the ability for us to have to, deal and communicate with the client, would come back to us, we'd kind of work over things as a team, put together a document and then send it back to them. And it was kind of this running back and forth for a couple of months. So it was, very vital for our learning, very vital for us to get from never doing anything to having delivered a full scale project, and kind of just see how that works. Yeah.
Definitely.
Therefore,
A few weeks went on whilst we were developing this project for Family Friend, and in addition to learning a lot throughout that process, as we mentioned, we then had a friends reunion around Justin's house, which was pretty cool. Do you want to touch on more of what happened there?
So we had there was 4 of us who went to school together, and we basically got together. We literally, like, there was no agenda or nothing like that. We were just catching up. We spent some time chilling. We ate food, and then, like, in my old house, we used to have a hot tub, so we ended up chilling in the hot tub for a bit. And it got to like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then like the late night chat started to happen. And we were all just like concordantly agreeing on how we all wanted to make more of our lives and we all wanted to be something in the future. And I've always been someone who wants my friends to be involved in the things that I do because I love and care about people. And we were talking and blah blah blah, and then the conversations kind of wrapped up and the night kind of ended. But obviously Dylan and I, knowing what we already knew about the business and what we wanted for our future, kind of went away with that and started to think about how we could potentially involve them and stuff like that. So it was a very another really pivotal time for us.
Yeah, but one that was unplanned, and like you said, we didn't go in with an agenda or anything like that. So off the back of that, some really cool things happened.
Defo, definitely. My new favourite word. So, as we roll into September, we come to September 10th. And as we explained previously, we had not long had a conversation with 2 of our very good friends about potentially, joining the business, making more of our lives. Dylan and I went away with that idea. We brainstormed a couple times. We had quite a lot of conversations and we kind of started to think about how we could bring them in.
So we put together a presentation which went through our business aspirations, like long-term, short-term goals, everything like that. Let them in on Operation SCSS, and we proposed that we would join ventures in a commemorative T-shirt printing business, which was prompted because we recently lost a good friend to suicide.
Yep, fun.
But
2 things to reflect on from that before we finish. 1, I am pretty sure that the presentation that we did for Jack and Colin is the first ever presentation we did.
Yeah.
So that was a good learning curve for us. Design, how we wanted to portray messages and images, how much information to put up, blah, 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 blah. That was actually a very long meeting, if I remember correctly. Like, it was a good while. We had a lot to go through, a lot of ideas. And in terms of the friend, may he forever rest in peace. We love you very much, and I will always miss you. And that's all I have to say about that, because I will get upset. Definitely. You're finishing on a good note. On the back of all of that being said, we left. We kind of threw the alley-oop in the air for our 2 good friends to see who would get on the end of it. And that is when we started to introduce Jack to the company. So I don't know if you want to explain what happened post-meeting, kind of what the decisions were.
yeah, we brought Jack on board, and we had a little meeting on the 23rd of September where we went to a coffee shop, outlined our goals and what his goals were and everything to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Communication at that stage especially is important, but it's something that we've valued throughout this journey as well, to make sure we're all on the same page. Key. I like it. And yeah, the other friend, he declined joining forces with us, and so we didn't actually go ahead with the printing business. Instead, we bought Jack on board and wanted to develop the Excel further, and that's what we kind of focused our efforts onto.
100%. And as you guys would have seen over the many months of vlogging now and stuff like that, obviously Jack's skills and progression has brought a lot to the team. And then Dylan working with Jack to teach him a lot more about Excel has been hugely beneficial to everyone involved. So looking back, great choice.
Definitely.
Difficult decision for us, I think.
It was.
This business is very close to our heart and we know exactly where we want to go. But Jack met us with grace, but also with determination and a lot that he could bring to the table. And I think it's been a great partnership ever since. I really do.
100%.
So that obviously led us into meeting our friends, where we then discussed the bits and pieces that we've just explained to you. So we want to reflect on kind of the realization that not everyone's aspirations are the same as ours, which I think that was another really pivotal moment in this process, because you realize you have to be a really particular kind of individual to want to devote yourself to something in life that is completely uncertain. You have no guarantee you can make this work and everything else that comes with it. And then the other thing we want to touch on is what it's been like having a third person as part of the team, i.e. Jack.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start and then I'll see if I have anything to add.
All right. I think with regards to different aspirations, from the get-go, we were very like, we don't want to go to uni. We're bored of education. That whole
understatement. Sorry.
that whole route was never really an option for us. And then, we always had dreams of having our own business, and that was kind of a solid foundation building block in our friendship throughout school and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is weird to look back on now, because it still is.
Yeah, I mean, 11 years old, we were talking about potentially owning property in the future. 12, 13 years old, we started to come up with different ideas. 15 years old, we were talking about solenoid engines in cars to reduce emissions.
Which you might have to bleep that, because I'm still
Yeah.
convinced.
What about having a third person on board? Because it really changes the dynamic of having to consider someone else now.
Yeah.
We had to plan someone else into the diary. We had to work around their commitments. It's like distributing roles and responsibilities was a new thing for us. So kind of what have you learned from that?
Yeah, I think that was a huge learning point, was that this has been something that's been so close to us for so long, and we were finally taking these steps to put it into action, and it's bringing someone in on this thing that we're trying to create, and learning that, not necessarily delegation, because we came on as partners at that point, but that sharing and brainstorming of ideas with another person, we got to make so much more progress with certain stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I think and overall, up until this point, it's been awesome. I think it's one of the best decisions that we made.
100%. And I think it's been probably the highest point of return for us so far as a business, because I mean, without Jack being on board, you wouldn't see this. You wouldn't see it, because I honestly believe had Jack not stayed the way he has, we probably wouldn't be recording and editing by now, because we're so busy.
Yeah. That was a huge prompt, wasn't it? So
massive, an absolutely massive one.
With Jack aboard, we took the time to combine all of our skills. We now brought extra skills onto the team, and we started to really develop our internal tools. And the key one was our thing to help with outreach and automatic emailing and everything like that. So I did some of the Excel and VBA code behind a mailing list and a web scraper and things like that, and then Jack helped with automating the actual sending process and going through the mailing list and everything as well.
Yeah, one of the things, it was one of those kind of unforeseen skills, abilities and progressions that we could make as a team that we couldn't do before, because Jack had some experience with Python, obviously the coding language. And so in Python, we were able to pair that with Excel to create an automatic emailing tool, which we have used literally every day since. Not every day, definitely not every day, but we still use to this day for our outreach. So if we're ever going to send any mass emailing, that's exactly where it comes from every single time. And it was one of those moments that proved to us why sharing the pie, so to speak, could be quite a valuable investment for us as a business, for the future, for the progression, and kind of everything in between.
100%. And I think it's awesome that tools about outreach and everything like that, about automation, we built ourselves. That was a from scratch project where we collaborated on about what we all want from it. And so,
and it was one of those things as well where we wanted to stay true to our brand. Like, who would we be if we went and preached to all of these companies about how we can do everything in Excel, and then with our first big tool, decided not to use Excel? So we solved that by using Excel.
Because it can be used for everything.
Exactly. So now that Jack was fully accustomed to being part of the team, and we'd been working together on developing tools and skills and combining what we have as our like attention and stuff, we thought it would be a good idea to go through and do a quarterly review for the business.
Which was a learning point, let's say.
Definitely.
So, quarterly review. What have we learned? What are the key sort of takeaways, and tell us a bit more about that kind of point?
Yeah, so I think the quarterly reviews, as anyone in the world of business will know, is like a major component of company like review, ironically, where just breaking down goals, seeing where you are in terms of business plans and all of that sort of stuff. And I think the idea of it is very glamorized of what it is. It's utter shite. We decided to put one together thinking it was something we needed to do. I think the immediate lesson that we learned was it was a complete waste of time. It's very good for companies who actually have money or clients or staff or, goals that are being progressed to do, obviously. And at this point in the business, it's something we'll probably be looking to incorporate within the next 12 months again. So I'm sure this time around next year, you'll see something along those lines. But I think it just really taught us about how much data is important within a company, because we were looking at things that didn't exist. We were talking about things that didn't exist. We were thinking about things that just didn't exist. So rather than it being a quarterly review, it was more like a future planning / tiny review meeting that ended up being, like, if I remember correctly, like 6 hours.
Yeah, that was dreadful. There was an agenda. There wasn't any times for each thing. We allowed ourselves to get distracted by talking about loads of different stuff as well. We didn't put in breaks, so we just went too far, with low effort, and by the end of that sort of session and
plummeting.
It wasn't a good use of time at all, other than what came afterwards in that learning.
That's the truth.
The reality is, at that point in the business, with the three of us, we were calling most days, we were messaging each day. It's so realistically, rather than this big town hall to let the entire company know what's happening and review the last quarter and everyone up on their responsibilities, things like that.
And we
were doing it all the time. So
yeah, everyone's finger was on the pulse very closely. Yeah. So it was not like we needed to devote so much time and effort to something that was just a complete sap of all energy at the time. It was so much. It sounds so dumb, but it was so much effort to kind of plan and get that together. I mean, we made presentations, we reviewed work done up until that point and put together kind of goals for the next 3 months, 6 months, whatever it was. I think it was 3 months, obviously, for the next quarterly review, which never happened post this one, because we realised it was a ginormous waste of time, and anything worth an update was getting an update on the day.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, the positive was the learning curve. I mean, if we have any major meetings now, we always book in breaks. We always make sure there's an agenda, and we always make sure the agenda is time slotted.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, it was a waste of time for what it was supposed to do, but like everything does in business and in life, we learned a lesson that was quite valuable to us as a company to move forward with.
Yes.
So as we rolled into our November period, we had kind of a realization and reflection of how well things have been rolling for us, client relations, internal tools, outreach and emailing, development of projects. Everything was very smooth. We didn't really hit any lumps and bumps. Obviously, a lot of hours, a lot of meetings, a lot of calls, a lot of texting back and forth, a lot of face-to-face, and everything in between. The work wasn't light, but it was rolling very smoothly, which was really nice. And then, Dylan,
thank you. We had a pivotal meeting where the three of us met in a Costa, and we decided that we didn't decide then. We had a discussion about documenting the journey, what that looked like for vlogging or anything like that, and kind of to start from the bottom with documenting our journey with everything we've done. We hadn't made any money yet. We got one project under our belt, and that was kind of it. We were still very new to this, so we thought it might have been a good idea, and here we are.
yeah, I mean, without that chat, you don't get this, and you
Yeah.
don't get the past 4 months or whatever we've uploaded at this point. I don't actually know what we've uploaded. I'm terrible with that stuff, but you don't get any of what we're trying to show you guys. So it was I would go as far as to say that this past month has been the most pivotal past month. This conversation was the most pivotal conversation to the business because it was the biggest change. This one thing that we chatted about became every minute of every day of our lives since then. So it's been really cool.
Definitely.
Good morning. It's currently 8:30. Woke up a bit earlier today. Woke up at 7:30. Hopefully make that routine of waking up earlier. But we got some work to do today. I've got a bit to do before my first meeting. Hopefully smash it out, figure out what's wrong, because I've got an Excel file that's not adding up on 2 separate sheets and I'm not sure why. So I'll be trying to fix that today. Let's see how it goes.
Good morning. It is 4:16. Woken up from my nap, pretty much, it feels like. But yeah, time to get moving and get on with the day.
Morning, everyone. I'm currently recording at about 9 a.m. Woke up at 6:45. Hair is an absolute mess today. Does not want to listen to me when I try and style it, at least in a way that isn't in my face. I am on for a relatively busy day again today. I've got 3 appointments kind of all over the country. I've got Telford, Dudley, and then down to Gloucester, which will be quite an interesting day. My hair is literally horrendous. It's so annoying. Should be a very good day. It's Friday, ready for the weekend, ready to see Dylan on Sunday to get some editing work done together and review the week. You will now notice that over the next couple of days you won't see anything of Jack. Jack is away on holiday. I'm sure he'll explain it in his videos, but in case he doesn't, he will be back Monday, probably recording Tuesday, so you'll see him by then. But yeah, have a great day and I'll catch up with you guys soon.
So for you, personally, business-wise, what were your kind of reasons for deciding to document or agreeing to document at that point?
I think the first thing I will premise is it's something I really struggle with. It's something I've found very hard to make consistent, but it's something I'm continuing to stick with because I know the positives it can have in the future. Business-wise, to be completely realistic with you, it's just to be able to reflect and to be able to look back when we're wherever we make it to, whatever stage we get to, which, we are aiming to climb to the top, proverbial top. It's just to be able to look back and say, oh my God, this is what we're doing in 2024. Can you remember when we thought that was the case? And, oh, look at the naivety, that kind of thing. And just kind of have a laugh in the future, potentially show it to our children, just for them to see, as much as we are where we are now, we weren't always here. And this is kind of the effort that it actually really takes to do what you want to do. Personally, I think it was more of just something that put me out of my comfort zone. I don't think many people can appreciate how awkward it is to try and record when you're in public.
Yeah.
When there's people around you that have no pissing idea who you are, or why you're recording, or why they might be in camera shot, and people don't like that. So I think just putting yourself out of your comfort zone is something obviously that we see is very important as well. So I think that would kind of be the driving factors for me. What about yourself?
Business-wise, we've got a lot of role models that we've looked up to over this past year, and
Daddy Alex.
Yeah. He's going to feature in the 2027 review.
Fingers
don't
crossed.
Worry. But they rarely start from nothing as such of the actual beginning. We started it in November, but as you've seen up until that point, we had one favor for a potential client and stuff, and that was that's when we started to document the journey. And so we have really caught some key moments throughout this year, as you'll find out some more in this video, and then through our series that we've recorded and upload weekly. That's something I'm really proud that we've stuck to for so long. But it's about documenting it from the start, seeing that journey, and then being able to reference it to hopefully inspire people to do the same, because that's what we've got from others, and that's what we want to give to others as well. And for me personally, communication is a massive weakness of mine, and confidence has always been a massive weakness of public speaking. And so similarly, just it put me out of my comfort zone, but it was just about, always communicating. I have to film myself each day saying stuff, like trying to be creative with what I'm doing and things like that. And then at the start, it was like sharing out the editing load and like learning that new skill as well. And that was really cool.
Very different days to what we deal with now, with obviously, Jack taking that on. So I think, so much, again, just learning. There's so much has come from this that's prompted us to do different things that we may not have done, that have been pushed because of recording. So it was definitely a wise choice. So during the same conversation, we come up with a brand new schwanky idea.
Yeah, that idea. I still think the idea is wicked, but kind of looking back at that point of where we were in the business and trying to start a software company with no funding, no experience of running a business, with all that naivety.
No funding, no backing, no interest shown, because it's not an idea we've shared with people. I still don't even think it's ever been shared on the vlogs. Naivety is definitely the word for it. Many calls, many late nights, just brainstorming ideas. I mean, we'd break down 3 points into 9 pages, but there's so much backing to this in our own heads. It was just kind of coming at it from a perspective of our own heads and not anything else.
So this brings us now to December, where we delivered the project for our family friend favour 4 months later, 3 or 4 months later. A lot of work at weekends and everything like that to fit around schedules, but we delivered it and it was received quite well.
Yeah, I think that was a great learning curve for us at this point in the business, because it went from, or it seemed from our perspective to go from, can we just have this little thing, to this little thing plus 13 other little things, which became quite a relatively big thing.
Yeah.
It took a lot of time and attention, effort. This project more specifically on your behalf, because it was for a family friend. We didn't really treat it through the business as such.
Yeah.
Obviously, we discussed as a team, but the meetings were done by Dylan after work and stuff like that. So it was a lot of time and effort expended by you. But like you said, received well. It is also something that's still being used to this day, and has been something that
I really hope if that comes across.
and has been something that has been we've received very good feedback from it, is the way we can put it, from the person we delivered it to directly, plus all of their colleagues that still use it. So something we can be very proud we did.
Definitely. And then around our job still, we were working on brainstorming ideas and developing a prototype for PVC as well.
Yes.
And then at the start of December came with some great news for you.
Me moving house, which was after a 4.5 month period. Obviously not my house, but family members. But it was a very stressful period at home because of everyone kind of in limbo, because we didn't know what was going on. But December 18th, we ended up moving, and then we ended up being just around the corner like we did when we grew up, which was positive, definitely. It allowed us to get together a lot more for the business, do a lot more work, as you guys can see now. And we hope that that's reflected.
Definitely. On my side, however, it came with some bad news on December 4th, where I was told that they were closing down my site where I worked, and that I would be made redundant. So I'd be losing my job. I was on an apprenticeship, so I'd lose my degree as well. So that put a lot of things into perspective.
Yeah, definitely. So, moving house for the first time in 20 years of existence. Technically false. I moved around a lot as a kid for various reasons, but I lived in the same house from kind of 2 years old until I was 20. Well, until now. Until 4 months ago. Brains all over the place. It was a great experience, a busy experience, a very physically demanding experience. Dylan will know that as well because he helped us move in, because obviously we're literally around the corner from where Dylan is. And yeah, I mean, I moved away from somewhere where I really didn't like, very busy, a lot of not very pleasant people. Is the area I grew up in, so I was losing a lot of, I don't know, consistency. All the memories were there. Everything I'd ever done in my life kind of related to the four walls of that house, so to speak. But to be honest with you, I felt nothing but positive. It was really good moving somewhere where it's so much more beautiful. We've got a bigger house now, thanks to my auntie and uncle, who have absolutely smashed it with this place. You know, we have the bar that we're currently recording in. We have beautiful fields, beautiful scenery around us. So it's been a great experience. It's been a great opportunity to change the routines I have. I mean, it prompted so much more of like the health and wealth focused side of myself, because, you know, change of environment, change of routines is the best way to kind of correlate the two. So yeah, very positive. I still absolutely love it here. And I'm very, very happy with it overall. Yeah. Losing your job.
However, the bad news was, so yeah, literally maybe 2 weeks before, was it?
I think so.
Kind of in this time frame. I was like gathered at the site where I was at and told that they were closing down my home site, where I was based. So I was doing a chartered management degree apprenticeship, and I was specialising in operations management and logistics. And I got to go around lots of different departments within operations, but then also go into like finance, health and safety training, HR, like all these different departments to understand how they worked, from like entry-level work and the actual workings of the department where the work gets done, to then admin and management. And like, that was a really eye-opening experience, and I was really excited for the plan that I had for the next like 2.5 years to complete my degree, complete my apprenticeship, and there was going to be a lot of cool other departments and learnings from that, and a lot of connections and relationships built. However, that was all going down the drain, and I was at this prospect of like, I didn't know what I wanted to do from that point, because I was now like, I can see the end of like my income. If I don't get another degree within 12 weeks, I don't get my degree. Like, it's worth nothing for what I've already done and anything that it could have been. So it was a very like turbulent time as such to try and go through and navigate all of that stuff. But it is what it is, and we're here like as a result of it.
Out on the other side. And obviously the decision was to commit to the business in the end, which has seen no monetary change, but definitely a lot of positive change when it comes to kind of moving forward in our life and, you know, dreams. So I think it was one of those things where, talking from a third person perspective of knowing you for the past 10 years, I think you being able to just take it on the chin, make that really tough decision, has been very inspiring to watch. And your commitment to the business since then has been honestly just stellar, is the term I would use. Like, it's just been unrelenting all the time, just trying to get things moving. So you should be very proud of yourself for that.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bringing us now to 2024, new year, new me, and all that shit. We started the year with the three of us going through our Operation SCSS vision meeting. So we outlined everything we wanted to do month by month to get the business to where we wanted to by 2025, which was really good. Like, we made sure we were all on the same page, outlined every month's focus and things aside from client development and everything.
Yeah. Then on top of that, we decided to really set in stone some personal goals. So for me, that was largely around obviously commitment and time to the business, but then my big one was weight loss. I decided this year to really get a grip on my eating habits, my health habits, prompted personally by the fact that I realised I want children with my wife. So, you know, it was a big thing for me before. I didn't really want kids, but we had many a conversation and decided that it was time for us to make that commitment. So yeah, fitness, health, weight loss, all the shit that gets incorporated into that is kind of where my 2024 energy was going to be focused, and the business.
We've just finished the gym, first introductory session. How was it?
Yeah, good. It seems like a pretty good gym. Quite quiet, which is nice because I don't like places that are filled with people, especially not when you're trying to work out and bounce off different machines. So it's going to be a very interesting year ahead trying to lose the old flabber.
For me, my personal goals were to do with fitness. I really wanted to get into the best shape of my life, bulk up a bit, but with the focus on like functional training. So I wanted to complete my furthest run, which we're doing as part of a team challenge later this year, which is
29th of June.
yeah. And I also wanted to do a high rocks event as well, just to do as a challenge, and that were my personal goals for that.
Yeah. So then, remind me.
It's all got a bit more serious.
There we go. My
And-
apologies for the video. Jack, leave it in. It's the truth. This is what it's actually like to try and do this sort of stuff. Obviously, things really stepped up for us this new year. And like the first thing I would say is I hope that's been reflected in, you know, the vlogging, the consistency, the work we put out, the things that you guys get to see. But we kind of went from, you know, maybe 10 hours a week each kind of behind the scenes to Dylan is now full-time. I am running a full-time job and doing this probably 20 to 30 hours a week. Jack is full-scale editing all the time for us now. So like the amount of work that went in at the start of this year, literally tenfold what we're putting out. So it's been an absolutely awesome time this year. I think the past 4 months for us has been the past 8 months before that, like
Definitely.
easily, and probably more. Like, yeah, it's been really cool this year. I've been very grateful to have this experience and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
100%.
think, and as well, it prepped us quite well because a couple of weeks after really ramping it up effort-wise, we got our first prospective client who
We
wasn't
did.
like a family friend or any like family related. It was nothing to do with that. Like an actual client that we converted to a call. So we had a couple calls with him to outline his project, and we actually took the business internationally. To be fair,
We did, which is actually crazy to say out loud because, drum roll please, I was in Scotland.
boom, international steel services. Like,
So obviously, little joke, but when we did actually convert the client to a call, he the only date he had available, I was actually on holiday. So look, we decided this year was all about commitment. If that's what it took, that's what it took. So I actually took a day out of my holiday at the time with my missus to get on the call, get things ironed out with him, and then see where that went.
Yeah.
It didn't go. To be
spoiler alert. But we learned a lot because on the back of that
100%.
call, the amount of like lessons and things to clarify, of like things we need to prep for next time, things we learned off
Yes.
the back of it, like it was really insightful for us. So
Yeah, I mean, and the great quote by Alex Hormozy himself is the asset you're building is not the business, it is you. We learn everything, we take everything on, we split everything as a team, and then once we go through all of these challenges, good or bad, make money or don't make money, 12 months down the line, I would quite confidently say we are 10, 15, 20 times better than we were this time last year. And what more can we really ask for? Obviously money, but
we're
beyond...
actually poorer than we were this time last year. But
I'm not. I can't say that confidently. I'm not. I've got consistent work, so it's all right. But yeah, this past year has been absolutely fantastic, and especially this past 4 months of 2024, almost going into 5 months, which is scary to say that it's moving that quick already.
So all of this ramping up, everything like that, came with a bit of sacrifice or lifestyle change, and things like that, and it led to a lot of discussions between the three of us about what we want out of this, what do we want our next sort of year to look like personally, and what are we willing to commit to the business time-wise, role-wise, how does that all fit? And I think that was a really eye-opening conversation. Links to what we were speaking about earlier about people with different aspirations. We all want different things personally from this business, but how do we align that for this next year of like making this Operation SCSS goal for 2024? So I think that was really like insightful to learn from as well.
Yeah, and I think kind of this was the first period where it wasn't like a daydream. And I think that changes a lot in this case, because it's where we have to really start thinking about, like you said, the things that we might have to give up if we really want to take this seriously, the commitments we're going to have to make, the changes in personal routine. I mean, you know, at this point, I'm starting to consider the whole process of, you know, weight loss and healthy eating and going to the gym and walking more often and all of that sort of stuff, which doesn't sound like much, but then that's on top of managing a relationship that I really care about more than anything else, on top of, working a full-time job and so much else. So it's kind of the first time where you've really had to sit down with yourself and say, is this what I want? How are we progressing forward from here? What does that look like and how does it change my routines? And I think that was, like you said, eye-opening is definitely a term for it, because again, it was just complete change in perspective from, yay, we have a business, this is really fun, da 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 da, to like, okay, no, we have a business and each of us hope to make, money from this, and we hope to subsidize income so we can do this full time. So where's the commitment coming from? Because this isn't a joke anymore.
Yeah. And then it started to establish a lot more systems within our business. So we started to take like calendars more seriously, of updating and scheduling regular meetings for like review of the week and planning of the week, and we'd sit down to review the vlogs and like share the editing and things like it was all like started to implement a lot more structure into what we're doing, rather than saying like, are you guys free Thursday? Yeah, cool, we'll speak about this. It was more of like, okay, this is the plan, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, these are the days I can call, these are the days I can't call, these are the major commitments I have, which is still reigns true to this day. It's what we do with our diaries. We keep them as scheduled as possible to make sure that everything's clear and clean. But again, it's just that from kind of doing something seriously, but seriously with fun, to doing something very seriously with the, the hope of changing our lives. So there's a big change.
So we converted the client to a call.
We did it. First client call down. Smashed it. Damn straight.
We did manage to get on that call.
We did.
Which was awesome. Like, day off work, international from 2 different countries at that point, already international businessman. It was wicked.
Ticking all the boxes.
But what ended up happening, like, talk us through a bit more of like, we got given a project outline. We could absolutely do it. It was well within our remit. What did we then do throughout that with like pricing and things like that?
Yeah, so obviously this is the first opportunity we have to kind of break down something by cost, by time commitment, by kind of project requirement specifications and all of those sorts of things. Like, this is the first real business transaction we're hoping to have, which we were completely naive and blind to. So we kind of took all the information we were given, which again, like you said, was well within our remit. We could have provided this project, which, as you can tell by the way we're talking, we didn't. Working with the client, it was someone I know personally who, great guy, and we'd been calling back and forth a couple of times. We went back and forth over text. We helped him resolve a couple of tiny little issues to prove kind of the skill that we had, which I think was really positive. So that was a great way to learn, to see what we can do for people in the short term to help them realize kind of the possibilities of just how simple the things can be to us that may not be to them. But basically, the long and short of it is we ran with the idea of using a big whale offer, a good medium offer, and a low ball offer. And it kind of shot us in the foot, because what we did with the big whale offer is we went way too far. And that is the big learning curve. Is I don't think we really priced things very well. We didn't really break down things as well as we have now on other things, which we'll tip you guys to soon. And I just think it was one of those things where we lost an opportunity through naivety, but it taught us some great lessons of making sure that we do things correctly all the time. And that's kind of as simple as it gets. I mean, it was just a silly mistake, and it shot us in the foot. It burnt us a little bit, and we've learned from that, I think.
Definitely. It's one of those things where up to this point, all of our like business research, business information you see about like offering the whale offer, or like pricing the medium popcorn just below the large to make it seem like better value for money. It was like, yeah, those are great lessons, just we applied them in such the wrong context there and then.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when you're looking at someone and saying, we'll charge you X amount for this, and they're looking at you, you've got no testimony, you've got no backing, you've got no proof of concept, you've got no case studies to prove what you've done before. Like, it was just the right kind of frame at the wrong time. And it couldn't have been more the wrong time, I think, if we tried.
I'd just like that to leave on.
As we were settling into these new roles in the new year, Justin took up ownership of developing a business plan. I don't know if you want to tell everyone how that was going.
So, my roles within the business are relatively client-facing. sales, outreach, marketing, development of presentations and scripting of conversations and all of that sort of stuff. Social media now rolled into that and kind of all of that sort of stuff. So when the opportunity came up and we realized the business plan was a wise investment, I said I'd handle it. So I ended up devoting probably 5 or 6 weeks to do this, give or take. First time I've ever done it, so it was a huge learning curve for me. Many hours of research and writing and rewriting and editing and reviewing with Dylan to rewrite again and all of that sort of stuff. I think the document finished at like 22 or 23 pages long. It incorporated everything to do with steel services and then PBC at the time. And we were quite happy with it as an internal business plan because that's kind of all we thought we were going to need. And then recently, obviously, as you guys will have seen from our videos, it came to us opening a business bank account. But because we didn't have social media, they wanted our business plan as proof of, I don't know, assurance within the
Viable
business.
yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted to assess the viability and the feasibility of what we were offering and whether we could make money, blah, blah, blah. Turns out the business plan that I wrote was fucking useless because it incorporated a separate business and different talking points and that sort of stuff. So the probably 100 hours of work, give or take, over the space of about 6 weeks was absolutely useless. But a good learning curve, like useless for the purpose that we designed it for, very good for the learning curve and everything else that came with it. So it's one of them, but definitely something to pay attention to in the future, making sure it's very professional, only about one business and not two. And a valuable lesson at this stage.
Now we're into mid-February, February 11th, where it was my final shift at my job on my apprenticeship. And now I had no employment prospects. I had no job opportunities lined up. I had nothing solid about what I was going to do. And everything was kind of put into perspective.
So a very major chapter of your life draws to a close rather abruptly. We've touched on this slightly in the past, but I want to delve in a little bit more, if you're happy to share, on kind of what you really were feeling around this period, you know, with your apprenticeship coming to an end, your income coming to an end, your job and your role and your routines completely being blown out of the water.
I'd say that was a major thing of routines. Of I was in such a rhythm with, like, if I was at this side, I was like doing this in the morning, this in the evening. If I was at a different side, I was doing this. Like, that was all set, had a full routine. And now it's like I've been given all the free time in the world. Like, I have no job whatsoever. And my initial reaction, like, to the news of redundancy was like fear. Like, I was scared, whatever. And then it went through a period of like, oh, you know, let's talk about what this means for us. Like, I'm excited, I can commit to the business. Like, we've always said this would be our dream. I can go full time, and like we can see how that aligns to what we want to do. But after a couple of weeks, it was like this realization of like, oh shit, I'm not making any money. Like, there's no money that's hitting my account anytime soon.
Yeah.
And that was a very daunting thing to like actually face the reality of. It's like everything that I've got now is just diminishing, like, and that was scary. I didn't like that. And up to this point, I still don't like it because I still, you know, we haven't taken anything out of the business to this point. I'm still relying on savings and everything like that to fuel this. But February came a period of time where we sat down, we discussed, you know, how does this align personally? What does Operation SCSS look like personally? How does this fit into our lives? Things like that. And where do we want to go with the business? And we just ramped up from December, but then it was about that again, like another notch of like taking it more seriously.
Yeah, how far can we go with you being able to commit more time? And it was, like you said, it was aligning personal with business now, not, you know, as separate entities. It was, if this is the goal here, how does this work here, and what do we have to do here to get to here, and all of that sort of stuff. And I think like it was, I would argue very swiftly that is the biggest change to this company so far. It's been the most pivotal thing. It's been the thing that's probably, besides having Jack on board, which is a whole nother pair of hands, eyes and ears, I think it's the thing that has paid us the most because of the progression we've been able to make in the past 2.5 months.
Yeah.
compared with the previous 2 of the rest of this year so far is just not even close.
Yeah, getting all that time of like, we were doing 20 to 30 hours a week of commitment around full-time jobs up to this point, and yet I can do that by Wednesday morning.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
the crazy
so
part.
much time that we had to progress things. I think it was a really good decision.
Remains to be.
As scary as it is.
Absolutely.
Early on into February, we decided to start a kind of branding workshop between us. So we put in a couple marketing meetings to go through like color schemes and like try and take the brand more seriously, potentially get a different logo because we were still using the same logo we started with Fiverr.
Yeah, we did. The free generated image.
Yeah. However, sort of within that meeting, you proposed something as a joke.
Yeah, so I think if I remember correctly, at the beginning of January, we kind of outlined the first couple of months of the year and what we wanted to focus on. And we said February would be a marketing focus. And so like it came to the days of these meetings and we were kind of, to be honest, struggling a little bit with where we wanted to take things, because with the Steel Services brand, we thought it's very kind of corporate, boring. You imagine walking into an office and someone saying, "Welcome to Steel Services." Like, it gave us that kind of vibe. And obviously, we weren't happy with that, with the way we present ourselves and things alike. So we thought for the brand, it would be better to rebrand. And midway through one of our conversations, we were talking about the color schemes that we liked. And we used a website called
Color Picker?
Whatever it was called. We'll get Jack to post a link at the bottom. But we used that website, and I found a kind of vibrant orange and yellow, and I threw it into our Google Docs as a laugh. I did kind of like it, but I wasn't really serious. And for some reason, genuinely for some reason, off the back of that, the ideas really started flowing. As Dylan likes to call it, the creative juices, which I despise, and I will say.
Never thought that would end up on record, but
well, it is now.
I think that was it. Then prompted of like discussions about that gives like vibrant mango kind of
that was
vibes,
it.
wasn't it?
That was the one.
And then we were starting to brainstorm different names of like data mango or mango muscle or like all of this, and other unrelated names as well, of like Steel Solutions, just as a whole rebrand for it. So then we actually started to message family and friends to get their feedback on everything. I was really proud of us for the way we approached this, to be fair.
Yeah.
And we kind of got some common themes of what people liked or commented on and everything like that.
Yeah, we refused to just run with, "Oh, we like this, so we'll do this." We went away, we collected actual data. Like, the way we approach this, I think, is one of the best things we've done so far for the company and for ourselves, and proving the point of, the work we want to put in and the image we want to portray. And after we went away, we kind of got some feedback on a couple different things, and then we ended up chatting between Dylan and I. I don't actually think Jack was at this one. And Dylan threw together kind of 5 or 6 of the different suggestions into one brand, and that is when we came up with
Office Mango.
Smashed it.
As we officially are today.
Yep,
which is awesome.
As we are officially incorporated under, which is almost surreal to say. It's such a simple thing, but coming this far and having a real business is very exciting for us. So that's where we're at now.
February 29th then was a huge day for the company. In retrospect, we attended our first networking event, which was awesome overall, I think.
Yeah, it was a very, very good day in terms of the networking. We had recently made the huge decision to go on a full-scale rebrand of the business. After a couple of weeks of deliberation, we settled on a name, and actually took the huge jump for us of getting business cards, which was like a £40 investment, which sounds like nothing, but when one of you doesn't work and the other one of you doesn't earn a lot of money, it was a fair bit considering it came from outside of the business. But
however, just on that, it was £20 for the business cards, wasn't it? And then it was like £20 delivery because of how close we left it to the event.
Yeah, so it was kind of on us. It definitely definitely wasn't just the pricing that was the issue. It was definitely our punctuality, shall we say. But it was a very good day. And off the back of the networking event, we went to
an office viewing. So yeah, that was a really good day. We had to like leave the networking event early to have an office viewing, and we felt really like upmarket.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I'm going to use this word right, ostentatious. a little bit out there for us. We obviously are in no position to be renting an office. We weren't in any position to be renting an office. However, meeting the there's a bit of a story behind it, but the guy that we ended up doing the viewing with ended up being really interested in us and our potential future, the business and everything like that. So kind of bloomed a bit of a relationship since then, haven't we?
Yeah, I think the universe works in mysterious ways.
Actually, the gentleman who we viewed with was a really awesome dude as well. He has invited us for further discussions. So
Yeah, it's just insane what happens when you get out and meet people. Like, that is not what we expected to come away with at all.
No.
So we were meant to meet with the owner of the company, which was the guy who we met's dad. And he, on the dates that he was available, we weren't available. We couldn't get the time off work.
yeah,
But on the day of the event, we were already on annual leave, so we suggested that, and it turned out he was out of the country that day.
yes,
So we actually met with his son, which turned out to be what bloomed that relationship.
100%. I mean, had we met with his dad, we probably wouldn't have had the positive nature shown to us in the same way. So we ended up meeting with a gentleman named Mike, who is just like, he's absolutely stellar. You know, he's very far ahead of us in the game of business, and he spotted our interest in real estate, because real estate is something that Dylan and I have spoken about doing since we're about 11 years old. So we were talking to him a little bit about that, and off the back of meeting him at the office, I think we chatted. Okay, to put it into perspective, the office viewing should have taken maybe 15 minutes if we were thorough. It wasn't huge. It was a very good size at a good price. Sadly, we couldn't afford it, but we ended up talking for about 50 minutes, I believe, because we just kind of clicked. And then during that period of time, we learned a lot about one another, and off the back of that, he suggested that we meet again, which was
A few weeks later, April 7th.
the Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up meeting with him again, and this time we met with his younger brother as well, who's also interested in property. And that was another really good meeting, another chance to get to know each other. You know, what the path has been for them to get to where they are, what our path has been to get to where we are, and kind of where the future is and how we align. So
Looking forward to see what's to come of it.
100%. We spoke a lot that you guys would have seen about long-term connections and partnerships. And I think, pardon me, I apologise. I think he will be our first real, connection, partnership, long-term potential. Very nice guy. We click really well. There's no friction in communication. Like, everything was just positive.
Yeah. 17th of March was our next major milestone, where we had our first proper in-person client meeting. Went to a coffee shop, met with them.
Made it into Starbucks. Yeah. How you feeling?
Good. Yeah, not really much else. A little bit nervous, but good. I'm feeling good. I'm confident in what we do. So
I'm well excited.
just a waiting game. Just a waiting game, isn't it? Really.
When they outlined what they wanted as a project, whether we could do it or not, and everything. And then we had to put together like a project requirement specification afterwards. And I don't know if you remember this, but when we were putting together the quote, we couldn't actually do it together. We had to do it like on the phone because you were driving and everything at the time. So that was quite difficult, I think, to manage.
Yeah, considering it was our first really serious thing. Obviously, it was one of those moments where you kind of just got to make it work. So I was actually on my way home from work when I can't remember if I rang you or you rang me. And I think we spent a good hour on the phone while I was driving, and then I literally got in the house, spent maybe 2 minutes downstairs, and got straight on call.
Yeah.
That quote ended up going out that night though, so we smashed that. But yeah, that was, and again, just another one of those moments where you look back and it's like, wow, that was, minuscule in the future, but in that moment, a real quote for a really interested client was eye-opening, I think, of an experience.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
We can cut a couple of those definitelys out.
I don't think we should.
No. For me, this was quite exciting, to be fair.
the opportunity to go to like a cafe. It was actually our normal trusty Starbucks that had played such a pivotal role for us so far.
The place, big up Starbucks.
Hell yeah. And we got to go in there, we got to meet a client, we got to have a discussion and see like their files and things like that. But it was just such a surreal experience to be driving over there together, to actually meet someone in the flesh, like not on Teams, not on Zoom, not on this little video call thing. I was actually like, hi, nice to meet you. Like, where we can help you with what you want. Like,
yeah, such a different experience to, like you've just pointed out there, like shake hands with the person you're supposed to meet, stand up to greet them in when they come in the building. Just a very kind of different felt sense of like importance to it. You're like Dylan said, you're not talking to someone on a computer screen or a camera. Like this guy was sat this far away, like, and we had a great discussion, and it was a really pivotal, again, like so many pivotal things have happened this year, but this is another one of those moments where I was like, it was what felt like at the time a corn or a carrot dangled right in front of us to say, come on, keep going, you're in the right place, you're at the right time, you just got to keep moving forward on this. And that was just something else. Again, it's just one of those experiences that genuinely you'll never forget having. It's the first guy we've ever met in person.
It was wicked. And then when it came around to speccing out the project, to delivering like a quote of what it's going to cost and timelines, we could then take all of the mistakes and learnings from the January client to apply to this. And at this point, we're still in contact with them, going back and forth, trying to arrange something, to try and make something work. So
yeah, I mean, the communication remains clear, and who knows, we'll see where it goes from here.
And that wraps up this annual reflection video. This year has been very much about establishing new routines. It's been about establishing processes and everything like that. But everything has been in the shadows. And so this year, we really want to step out, get our name out there, develop marketing materials, develop products, everything like that, to get our company out there and really make some progress, and no longer hide away in this, like, this is our little hush hush, like, this is our little project. It's like, no, this is what we're trying to achieve, this is what we're setting out to achieve, and here's how we can benefit and offer value to other companies.
Absolutely, yeah. And we wanted to kind of finish this video with a little quote that's resonated with us over the past year. So the next 12 months, to be completely transparent, is all about making money for us. It's all about kind of solidifying the fact that the work we've done has been worth the time that it's taken, and trying to get our first foot on the first rung of the ladder and just start moving up.
I think the reason why money is the goal is so that our lifestyle can change. Like, we want to be able to move out. We want to be able to like start that sort of next chapter.
And to do this full time.
And
we don't want to have to do this as well as working jobs for income. We want to do this full time so we can give it all of our energy, rather than 30% or 50% of our energy. It should be 100%, because the progress we can make when both of our heads are together, and then plus Jack on top, is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So, but we did want to leave you guys with a couple quotes that resonated with us this year. Do you want me to do first?
Yeah.
So the quote that really resonated with me this year, that really kind of looks towards that first jump that you have to make when it comes to starting the business and putting a name out there, is one that I've heard from Layla Hormozi, which is, fear is an inch deep but a mile wide. And I think that really helps with the perspective of what it really feels like to do this kind of thing, to put yourself out of your comfort zone and really get moving towards the goals that you actually have.
My quote, I am unsure of the origin, but it's when they say true hell is where the person you are meets the person you could have been. And for the past 10 years of our friendship, we've been all talk. We've been all about business. Like, yeah, we've got these great ideas, whatever.
Been yapping.
Yeah, and I would hate to one day meet the Dylan who actually acted on those things. And so that's why we created Operation SCSS. That's why we put in the work that we do each day up until this point. And that's kind of why we're on the journey so far. So,
1,000,000%. Well, we will see you all week by week, and we will see you. We will see you for this again next year. Until then, good luck. Stay safe. Have fun.
Got a client call.